It is time to talk travel. Welcome to the Inside Travel Talk podcast, a radio show. Coming up on today's show, we will be talking about saving you $550 on your next vacation in Fiji. Celebrity fills an entire river cruise ship in 6 minutes. What to do when your flight is delayed. Getting charged for being a no-show on Royal Caribbean, Alaska Cruise, and Land Tours, and 40% off Princess Cruises in Alaska. Let's start the show. The Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show presented by BluePlanetVacations.com contains travel deals, promotions, and offers that may be time sensitive. All offers and information were accurate when the show aired. Travel deals and offers change constantly and are capacity controlled and subject to change without notice.
Helping you plan your next vacation. This is the Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show, presented by BluePlanetVacations.com, America's best travel advisors. Call us now, 801-649-3700, 801-649-3700, and check out the podcast at InsideTravelTalk.com. Here's Patrick Wiscombe and Mark Faldmo.
What a joyous occasion it is to be on the air celebrating 2 years of bringing this radio show and podcast to our listeners here in the state of Utah and around the world. Happy birthday to this show, Mark.
Been doing this for 2 years.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. This is the award-nominated and frequently duplicated Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show. Hello there. I am Patrick Wiscombe. He is Mark Faldmo. And if you are brand new to the show, our job is to help you plan and book your next vacation or give you ideas of where you may want to go on vacation next. And we are presented by BluePlanetVacations.com. If you're new to the show, thank you for subscribing. If you've been with us for the entire 2 years, thank you so much for allowing us to be part of your weekend each and every Saturday and Sunday. Just incredible that it's been a couple of years. This week, we're going to help you save up to $550 when you vacation in Fiji. And Mark, we have the story that Celebrity River Cruises, a brand new, not a new cruise company, but they're new to the river cruise business, that they filled their entire new ship in 6 minutes. We'll give you the details about the ship, but let's first get to the travel news headlines. American Airlines is going to launch their first Miami to Bimini route. That's a short flight.
That is. So we've talked about Bimini on the show a few times.
I love Bimini.
The Beach Club.
Yeah. Awesome.
It'll launch February 14th. It'll fly Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays from Miami. And it will be American Airlines' shortest international route and their shortest route overall. It's 64 miles. They do have another route, and I can't believe they even fly this, between Chicago and Milwaukee, which is 66 miles. But this route to Bimini makes sense because it is over water. There is a ferry that people can take from Miami. This will make it quicker and easier to get to Bimini and those beautiful beaches.
United takes aim at Spirit with increases and additions on 18 routes, which, by the way, I don't know if you saw that news story a little bit earlier. Was it this week? Maybe it was late last week, that Spirit is pulling out of Salt Lake City officially. I think it was October 2nd, if memory serves.
Yeah, they are pulling out, I think, 8, maybe 12 cities they're pulling out of. So their strategy is shrink to survive. They do vow to continue operating, but they're going to look at the routes very strategically, and less profitable routes they are going to cancel.
Just for competition purposes, we hope that they make it, truly.
Yes. This story, United has announced going into those places that Spirit has left. They're making increases on 16 different routes beginning in January. So they're really putting that pressure on Spirit.
Oh, yeah.
Not only in cities they already serve, but cities they're pulling out of.
Frontier Airlines says that they're no longer use jet bridges. So first of all, if people don't know what a jet bridge is, let's explain that, and let's explain why they're no longer going to use them.
The jet bridge is what you walk onto the airplane. In the olden days, and if you're flying Frontier, you now walk out across the tarmac area and board the plane by stairs rather than the jet bridge.
Really?
Frontier says jet bridges raise the cost and weaken efficiency. Loading this way, they're able to put stairs at the front and back of the airplane and load from two different parts of the airplane. They've been doing this in Denver for quite a while. They said to good success, but I don't know if you're in a blizzard in Denver, if you're going to like boarding the plane that way. But they're going to roll this out to more airports. In fact, in Denver, they built a whole new terminal just so they could load their planes this way. And they're going to roll it out to more airports over the next year. In a place like Denver, they've been doing it for almost 2 years now. So I guess it works and people don't complain about it. But I've been in some pretty nasty blizzards at the Denver airport. That's interesting.
Yeah. Let's get to the travel deal of the week. And this week we're going to Fiji. We are going to help you save up to $550 when you vacation in Fiji. What are the details, Mark?
Fiji Airways, we've talked about this on occasion. They have some really good lead-in fares to Fiji. It's like $749 from Los Angeles. So
how much?
I've looked $749 round trip.
Whoa.
So I've looked for complete vacation packages. So this is airfare from Los Angeles. We can help with your flights from wherever you're coming from, Salt Lake or wherever, to Los Angeles. Middle of November, so before Thanksgiving. 4-star adults only hotel, $1,099 per person. And then if we go up where I stayed in May, the Sheraton Fiji Golf and Spa Resort, $1,349 per person.
That is amazing.
It is. And then I've got a few other on the blueplanetvacations.com website on the Fiji deal. You can look at a few of the other deals. Now, with that airfare, these are kind of preset packages.
Sure.
We can help you with some more customized packages and go out to islands on the Mamanuku Islands, which those island stays are wonderful. There's lots of different ways you can do Fiji. You can take one of these preset vacation packages where you're in one hotel on the main island, or you can split your time between the main island and some of the outer islands. I love that. Because you're on a hotel that's maybe anywhere between 20 and 40 rooms, and it's the only thing on the island.
Ooh.
You have the whole beaches to yourself. Or there's actually some cruises that also go around the island that you can do. Take advantage of this Fiji Airways special. Which they've had. It's fluctuated between $749 and $799. It's a longer flight, but that makes it comparable to Hawaii. So if you've been to Hawaii a lot, go to a different tropical paradise.
And you love Fiji. You've said that for years.
The people are so nice. It's not a highly visited destination. There are lots of hotels there, but you still kind of feel that island vibe that you don't get in some of the other destinations.
Call Mark at the break. And we're going to take a break right now. Just get the conversation started. There's no obligation. 888-718-7717. 888-718-7717. And you can also get the contact information on the website, blueplanetvacations.com. When we come back, it is time for the infamous Just Cruising segment, where it's only about the cruise news headlines and it's only about cruise deals. This week we're talking Alaska, and we've got some significant savings. So stick around, if you would please, to help us celebrate being on the air for 2 years. Thank you so much for allowing us to be part of your weekend. We will be back in about 60 seconds.
If you have travel questions, they have the answers. You're listening to the Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show with Patrick Wiscombe and Mark Faldmo, presented by BluePlanetVacations.com. Call or text the show right now. 801-649-3700. 801-649-3700. We'll be right back.
Inside Travel Talk is brought to you by AMA Waterways. From castles and capitals to vistas and villages, visit some of Europe's most remarkable sites and cities. To set out on your own river cruise journey, contact Blue Planet Vacations at 888-718-7717 or blueplanetvacations.com.
You're listening to the Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show, presented by BluePlanetVacations.com, America's best travel advisors. Call or text the show now, 801-649-3700, 801-649-3700, and check out the podcast at InsideTravelTalk.com. Here's Patrick and Mark.
Mateys. Ahoy. You are listening to the Inside Travel Talk podcast, a radio show alongside Mark Faldmo. My name is Patrick Wiscombe. Thank you for allowing us to be part of your weekend for the last 2 years. Whether you listen to us live on the radio here in Salt Lake City or around the country, you can hear the show every Saturday morning, every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. on whatever radio station you're listening to. But if you're unable to catch us live, you can subscribe to the podcast by going to InsideTravelTalk.com. We have links to all of the podcast platforms. Or if you are not a podcaster, you can just stream the show live at InsideTravelTalk.com. This is the infamous Just Cruising segment, this segment that has helped us become popular worldwide. But before we get to the cruise deals of the week, let's get to the cruise news headlines. Madonna has a song called 4 Minutes. We are just going to change that to 6 minutes. 6 minutes to save the world. Celebrity, they sold out their first ever river cruise ship. They sold it out in 6 minutes. But in the process, they have now, since selling out the ship, which people didn't know where they were going to go. They didn't know what ship they were going to be on. They sold it out in 6 minutes. Now they've revealed the look and the name of their first ever river cruise ship. Mark has the details.
Last week, we were supposed to talk about that they've opened up those deposits, and about 40 minutes before we went on air, I got word that it sold out in 6 minutes. So people were putting down a $500 deposit, not knowing the name of the ship, not knowing the itinerary. They could just choose if it was on the Danube or the Rhine. Since then, they've announced some information about the ships, including their names, which are the Celebrity Compass and the Celebrity Seeker. They will be modeled after the same design as the Celebrity Edge class of ocean ships.
Love that idea. Those Edge class ships are beautiful.
Yeah, and they will have kind of a first on river cruise. They'll have a cantilever dining pod where you can eat in a dining pod and be raised up so you can get a 360-degree view of wherever you're cruising.
I like it.
It's called the Magic Edge Dining Pod, and they've announced they're going to have 33 7-night sailings on the Rhine and the Danube. Staterooms will all have a king bed with balcony, complimentary minibar, destination-inspired amenities. And they say they'll have the most in-room amenities and features when compared to other river cruise lines. Everyone will pick up their game to match this.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're in a suite, you'll have an on-demand butler, and you'll also have access to an exclusive dining room and room service.
I've never had a butler, but I've always wanted to be buttled.
Yes.
That just sounds awesome. Ferguson, go get this, please.
I've had one a few times and never known how to use them or what to do. It just feels weird to ask someone to do that
when you could go do it yourself.
Do myself. So, yeah.
Carnival Cruise Line goes beyond soft drinks with zero proof drink package. So, I'm a huge Diet Coke fan, but all I get when I'm on vacation are virgin pina coladas. I just love them. This sounds like something up my alley.
They have their package, which is called Bottomless Bubbles, which is the full, complete drink package of everything.
Bottomless what?
Bubbles.
Oh, bubbles.
Bubbles, yeah. And then they've had their soft drink package. So now that they kind of have an in-between one, which is their Cheers Zero Proof package, which is more than soft drinks. You can get alcohol-free cocktails, mixed drinks, among many other options. So there's kind of that in-between package. I I'll just go drink the virgin pina colada all day long on that.
Yeah, I would too.
Throw in a strawberry daiquiri on occasion.
Yes,
but
that sounds delightful. Royal Caribbean is going to charge guests a fee for specialty dining. That part is not new. However, if you no-show, you're still going to get charged.
And an additional fee, an extra fee. So if you don't show, there will be a fee on top of what you already paid, which is not refundable. They've announced that fee at their higher end restaurants. So the Supper Club, Royal Railway, the Teppanyaki, and Chef's Table is $50 per person for those.
Oh, per person. Wow.
At some of their regular restaurants, it's 50% of the base cost of the reservation. And at other venues, it's $25 per person. So kind of varies by restaurant, but they are going to do a no-show fee.
We want you to be part of the show. So if you have travel related questions, even if it's just trip specific, vacation specific, you can get in touch with us during the week. And while we're on the air, 801-649-3700, 801-649-3700 is how you get in touch with us so we can answer your travel specific question. This text question came from one of our listeners. Last four digits are 1382. We don't have a name on this, right, Mark?
We don't, just the last four digits of that number.
Okay, so 1382, here we go. Questions about Princess Alaska Cruise and land tours is the subject. They are looking at the 2027 schedule and want to do a northbound cruise from Vancouver, Canada, with a land tour at the end. There seems to be lots of options for land tours to Princess Lodges. I would like to do both Denali and Mount McKinley Lodges. How many days do you recommend for the land option? And what are some tour options in Fairbanks, Alaska, and some in Anchorage? Is one better than the other, and why? Man, there's a lot to cover there. So where do you want to start, Mark?
First of all, let's just do an overview of what a cruise tour or a land and cruise tour is. These are very popular in Alaska, and they combine a 7-day north or southbound cruise with a 3 to 10-day land tour in Alaska. This text already said they want to do a northbound, but you can do the tour first and then the cruise, or you can do the cruise first and then the tour. Personally, I recommend doing the cruise first. Doing a northbound, cruising, working your way into Alaska, and finishing with the highlights like Denali, some of that spectacular stuff you see on the land tour. I think also the northbound cruises are typically not much, but a little bit less than the southbound cruises. Another thing to consider is, do you want to travel by bus or rail for the land portion? Some of the cruise tours are all rail, some of the cruise tours are all bus, and some combine both bus and rail. By bus, you do get there a lot quicker and have more time in places, but the rail is amazing in Alaska. And Princess calls it direct to wilderness, where you walk off the cruise ship, just walk about 15 yards, get on the train, and they take you right up to Denali.
Did you say direct to wilderness?
Direct to the Wilderness is the name of that service that they offer. So you go direct from the ship to the wilderness. Another thing to consider with Alaska cruise tours is, do you want to be on your own, so more independent, or do you want it completely guided? Princess offers 4 main types of tours. One is on your own, which basically includes the transportation and lodging only. The on your own tours are typically by bus, but there are some that do have some combination of rail. These are ideal for people who want to be more independent, arrange their tours, arrange the things to do when you get there. I will say a lot of times, some of the things like the Denali, going into Denali, you have to do it by park bus, which can sell out. So if you do on your own, you may not get to Denali. The next way is called Denali Explorer. So it includes usually multiple night stays in Denali, at least 2 and up to 4, includes transportation, lodging, and offers a deeper immersion into Denali Park and includes that excursion into Denali Park. So it does include some tours, but offers some time for leisure to do your own thing. And then Princess offers, they call it off the beaten path, which goes to some of their more remote lodges. You still get the Denali because Denali is what everyone wants to do. But then it goes to some of their other lodges. And then they offer Connoisseur, which is completely 100% escorted. It's like doing a bus tour. So you have a professional host and escort with you at full time. It includes the most tours, most planned activities, and also includes most meals, where the other types don't include a lot of meals. So there's less planning, kind of more comfort in that connoisseur type tour. They do have a few others that dive deeper into national parks and things like that, but those are their 4 main tours that they offer. Princess also owns and operates 5 of their own lodges in Alaska, which makes it nice because you're on a Princess product the whole time of your vacation. The most famous one is the Denali Princess Wilderness Lodge, which is just a mile from the entrance to Denali National Park. It's a prime home base to explore that area. The next most common one is the Mount McKinley Princess Wilderness Lodge. It's about 40 miles from Denali National Park, but the one thing that this offers is if there are no clouds, I put that caveat in there, it offers the best views of Denali. They have a great room where you just sit there and it has Mount McKinley in its view.
Wow.
Amazing views of the park. They have Kenai Princess Wilderness Lodge, which is in the Kenai Peninsula. And then my favorite one is the Copper River Princess Wilderness Lodge. It's over kind of by College Fjord, and it's a remote lodge. When I went there, I don't know if they've changed this. You could only get there by bus, and it was a dirt road by bus to get. So that's how remote it is. Not even paved roads going into that, at least when I did it. And that's been about 10 years ago. So this is where you'd really visit the wilderness in those last 2 lodges, the Copper River and the Kenai Princess Lodge. And then they also have a lodge in Fairbanks, which a lot of the cruise tours do end in Fairbanks.
My word, there is no short of options here.
No, there are probably 50 or 60 different tour options you can choose.
Oh my goodness.
Between lengths of stay and types and how they do that.
The person texting us from 1382, this feels like you need to have a longer conversation with Mark.
I mean, based on the criteria and questions that he asked, I have my recommendation of what he should do. His first question was end in Fairbanks or end in Anchorage. I would choose end in Fairbanks. The tour that I would recommend an 11 or 12 day Denali Explorer tour that ends in Fairbanks. The one I recommend is tour IA5 is the number that Princess uses for that. It includes Mount McKinley Lodge, Denali Lodge, and Fairbanks. What you'll do is you do get that direct to wilderness service. So you'll walk off the ship, board a train up to Talkeetna, which is where you'll spend 2 nights at Mount McKinley Wilderness Lodge. And then after that, you'll take a bus to Denali Princess Wilderness Lodge, spend 2 nights there. And then it's a short drive from the Denali Princess Lodge up to Fairbanks. On that drive is when you'll do that paddle wheel ship on the river, but then you'll spend 1 night in Fairbanks and then come home. These cruise tours range anywhere from 3 to 10 days, but I like the ones that include at least a portion of your activities and also a little bit more assistance as you're going as compared to those on your own ones. That's what I would recommend for our caller.
Just before we wrap up, let's hurry and get to the cruise deal of the week, which is Princess Cruises up to 40% off. And the 3rd and 4th guests are free for 2026 and 2027, but you need to book pretty quick.
Yeah, you do. So it's booked by October 15th for that 40% off. And, this is good for sailings anywhere in the world, but we're talking about Alaska and Alaska cruise tours. So that 40% off is off of the cruise portion of that tour. And also the 3rd and 4th guest is only for the cruise portion.
It is.
You can do the cruise tour. So, just quickly, I looked May dates for that tour IA5 that I recommended. So in 2026, the price starts at $2,099 per person. In 2027, it starts at $2,559 per person. That's for the inside cabins And it jumps up about $600 or $700 per person if you go to the balcony for that cruise tour.
So about $3,200 on the balcony stuff.
Correct.
Okay.
I think a cruise tour is the best way to see Alaska.
You will never be disappointed if you go to Alaska. Never. There are two vacations that are absolute guaranteed hits: Alaska and Hawaii. And I'll even throw in Fiji.
And Fiji, since we talked about it.
Yep. Take advantage of this particular offer. 888-718-7717. 888-718-7717. You can also see all of this on blueplanetvacations.com. You can listen to this award-nominated show again tomorrow morning, Sunday at 11 a.m. right here on the radio station that you're listening to around the country, but also right here in Salt Lake. And you can stream, download, and subscribe to the podcast at InsideTravelTalk.com. We are on all of the major podcast platforms, and you can stream the show right on InsideTravelTalk.com. Okay, it's your turn now to get out and explore the world while you can, because you never know what curveballs life is going to throw at you. Live your life deliberately, live your life intentionally, and a sincere thank you for listening. We don't have a business, we don't have a show without you. Thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you next weekend.
That's it. That's the end of the show. You've been listening to the Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show with Patrick Wiscombe and Mark Faldmo, presented by BluePlanetVacation.com. Book your adventure right now. Call 888-718-7717. That's 888-718-7717. Thanks for listening. Have a great week.
This segment of Inside Travel Talk is sponsored by El Dorado Spa Resorts. Escape to Cancun's Riviera Maya with authentic, all-inclusive luxury at an El Dorado Spa Resort. To book your romantic beach getaway, contact Blue Planet Vacations at 888-718-7717 or blueplanetvacations.com.